Lifestyle.
Culture.
Photography. Fresheye. Lifestyle.
Culture. Photography.
This edition is an interview with Hillary Sukhonos, a classically trained ballet dancer. Dance needs no introduction. However, from African tribesman to Red Indian, dance is one of the most primitive forms of expression and art forms we have. I caught up with Hillary and asked her about her dance journey and the future of the art of dance as a vocation.
Hello, welcome Hillary Sukhonos, my favorite dancer from Paris. So we met, let's see, I always have this is a good test of the brain here, something like, let's see, 2-3 years ago. Yeah, I think it was, what would you say? What year was it?
2018.
Right, yeah, 2 years ago. So Hillary and I met 2 years ago at Lido.
In the theater after the show.
How is my pronunciation? Lido?
Le Lido de Paris. Oui, c'est très bien, Dennis.
And for a little cabaret, shall we say, Parisian style, and it was the most inspiring show and memory I have of Paris, and I've been to Paris 3 times, so it was incredible. It really was incredible. I had an amazing time in Paris, stayed at a beautiful hotel, and now Hillary and I, we've reconnected a few times via the wonderful WhatsApp app and various things.
And we've seen each other in London, gone for dim sum, as I recall.
That's right, and there was a little night clubbing as well. I do remember that.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, that was fun. We had a friend get us in.
Yeah, and there was a little dancing going on there. And I tell you what, when you go out dancing with dancers, it feels a little bit pressurizing.
You did great.
But yeah, so, and I do want to tell the audience that you have written for Fresheye twice, because Hillary has a few strings to her bow, shall we say, and we're going to get into that. And journalism and writing is something that you've been entertaining and very good at it as well. You've done really two good features for me, 2 good pieces, which will be in the description of this video. So Hillary, welcome again. Hello to you. I'm sort of reintroducing myself to you. I'm going to ask you some classic questions here. So firstly, where were you born?
I was born outside of San Francisco, and then later on I was raised outside of Portland, Oregon, which is now kind of a famous place as well, I guess. Oregon's usually not very famous. It's known for their Christmas trees. And I came to Paris in 2015 to open the new show at the Grand Cabaret at Lido in Paris.
Right. Yeah. And the thing that impressed me most when I had to be just researching what I was getting into, seeing the theatre and the show and learning about the history of the Bluebells. Have I got that right?
Yeah, that's right.
The Bluebell Girls. Can you elaborate on that for me?
Absolutely. So the tradition of the Bluebell Girls started after the World War II. And
Yeah.
it was agreed, actually, if your listeners are British, it began the relationship really between English dancers and the Parisian cabaret. And notably, there's a lot of wonderful and famous English dancers at the Lido and in the Moulin Rouge as well.
Yeah.
So at the Lido, many of the dancers and the managers are English. So I've been working with the English in many casts in my first cruise ship contract, later when I worked for Thirstford Christmas Spectac, and I'm always impressed with English talent, triple threats, your
Yeah.
dances, your dance school, and of course, as an American, we consumed so much British media, movies, comedy, and all your stars. So and the tradition of the Bluebell Dancers is alive and well. You can follow it at the Bluebells Forever podcast. There's a
Right.
former showgirl who is cataloging all the showgirls from many show palaces from all the generations who danced and dated many of the stars. And that's quite a lot of fun. So I belong to this tradition. There was a big Bluebell reunion. I think it was last year, like hundreds of alumni, you can say, of showgirls came out
Yeah.
from all over the world, and they told me stories how they flew to Japan and they were photographed stepping off the plane, and you're a little bit like a mini celebrity in some corners of the industry in the world.
Right. Right. Now that's incredible. So we were mentioning the idea of serendipity before, and in terms of creativity, I've always relied on serendipity to take me to the next level or inspire me for the next idea. And I will say that meeting you in Paris was serendipitous in the sense that it really opened my eyes to cabaret and dance again. So how would you say then that your arrival to Paris, albeit you may have had a dream to dance at Le Lido, how serendipitous has it been for you?
Honestly, I didn't know the Lido existed before I auditioned.
Wow. Right.
It's quite famous, but it wasn't in my sphere. But since I was a teenager, I had dreamed to dance in Europe. I never specified where, but I had this imagination of, being a
Yeah.
soloist on stage in a far off land.
Yeah.
And I kept that dream alive for 10 years until I finally broke out of America. It was quite at the time, it felt like the epic struggle to kind of get out of my plateau and move to the next level of my career,
Yeah.
which would be an international career. And Paris chose me. I auditioned in several places, and I was offered this wonderful opportunity here. And I've since performed in Italy and in England, and
Yeah.
other places. It's been a living dream. Of
What a
course, a bit.
journey though. And where did it start? I mean, how long have you been dancing?
Oh, my mother got me into dancing, which is very wise of her, because as you learn to be a dancer, you get a lot of, oh, why are you dancing? You'll never make any money, and what is it good for? And there's a lot of a lack of
Yeah.
appreciation, but it gives you health and elegance and an intelligence of the body and a way with people, with history. You travel, you learn different cultures and languages through dance.
Of
It's
course.
an amazing gift. I've met amazing people, creatives, artists, business owners. It gives you a status in society to be an artist and to be a dancer, really
Yeah.
like a few other titles, I believe. So I'm very proud to be a professional dancer, because it takes a lot of persistence to find your way to a successful platform to make a
Yeah.
living.
Yeah. And how was your French before you got to Paris?
Oh la la! There was 5 Americans hired for the new cast, and none of us knew a lick of French. We couldn't even pronounce the metro stops. It was hilarious. We struggled.
But now you're fluent.
Oh, we're getting there.
Okay,
We're
well that's
getting there.
impressive.
Many thanks to my French community and friends who, there's a large Anglophone community.
Yeah.
And the French, I think, are very generous people to have such great international business and international companies and great relations with us. So I'm very thankful to them.
No, so what? So you've literally become nearly fluent in French in the space of how many years?
Oh, it's going on 6 years now.
Okay, that's pretty good going.
Ça va aller.
Yeah, because I remember studying French at school. It certainly wasn't my strongest subject. Also studied German, found German a lot easier because it's more aligned to English in my mind anyway. So no, that's incredible. I must ask though, so to any aspiring dancers out there, maybe the little girls out there who may watch this video through friends or their parents, how would you inspire them? What advice would you give them in terms of your experience and shall we say in terms of aligning themselves with their ambition? Because it is, we've all seen the films. I remember Fame. We all know what the audition process is like. And I remember you telling me about the audition process. It's like torture, right? So how would you advise a young, aspiring dancer who wants to get into the industry?
That's $1 million question. Some things have remained the same. Quality of teachers, building your network, which means aligning yourself, going to the classes, the studios, talking to people who are going to help you find where you can fit the next step, the next job interview, audition, the next show. You need to have a very broad network as well as good training. And also for this new generation, the internet, what's happening online virtually, the podcast, the Ins and Outs podcast is a great one to go into commercial dance. And there's so many for classical theater and concert dance as well. There's unlimited resources, but I think at the end of the day, your personal relationships with people are going to bring you plus.
I hear that.
And hard work. And you have to accept a lot of harsh realities that you're not going to agree with. It's a handshake. I had to accept I'm a tall dancer, what opportunities are for me and my look and my skill set.
Yeah.
So you have to bend to what the market is, what the world is doing right now, what the economy is doing right now, as well as push very hard to go after what you want.
Yeah, I hear that. I've always thought that interpersonal skills are very important, just people skills, right? That's pretty much, after people have studied and got their accolades and, graduated and all of that, when they go out into the world, certainly into the workforce, it's the people skills that's going to take them the furthest.
And for those who are naturally gifted with people skills, okay, it doesn't sound daunting, but for those who are more introverted or prefer to have one good friend, you find an ally that can help promote you or help advocate for you and your talent. This is also how it works as well. It takes a village to move us and our friends who are creative forward.
I hear you. Yeah. So who would you say your idol was when you were growing up, or idols? Who are these people, or who is that person?
Well, I read a lot of female authors who spoke about these fantastical lives as being artists, traveling and meeting very exotic people and going on these tales. So I had quite a fantastical vision of my future through these books. But as far as performers, I always love performers who would break the mold, who take risks. Today that would be Natalia Osipova. She's a ballerina. But when I was a teenager, Anne Ranking, it's apt to name her because she has recently passed on from this earth. So to note her. She was a famous muse of Fosse and Broadway, a singular female soloist and choreographer who made it look easy.
Yeah.
And it's very, very difficult to what she did. But you know, strong female leads and people who try something new, who are risk
Yeah.
takers. That's who I've gravitated towards.
I've always been fascinated, I've got to say this, by the story of the male dancer, and certainly in this culture, in this country, how, you know, maybe a young boy who wants to grow up to be a ballet dancer, how difficult that is and how taboo it still is. And, you know, we've got great inspirations like Wayne Sleep. I'm sure you've heard of his name. And of course, the film Billy Elliot.
Yes, Eternal.
Who, I believe Elton John actually produced the stage show in London for. And yeah, it's still an ongoing journey in terms of it being accepted within certain, shall we say, masculine arenas. Obviously not a problem if you're a female who wants to dance. There's no issue there. Have you found, I mean, because you've danced with many male dancers, have you found a similar story there that comes from them?
Absolutely, especially in America, in England, in Europe to a large extent. So the culture for men who dance is, oh, it's such a sad thing because male dancers, they're athletes.
Yeah.
And for cultures who celebrate masculinity with expression, with color, with pizzazz, with athleticism, and that's what dance is. I'm really happy to see our Western culture be influenced by different dance cultures.
Yeah.
Like if it could be something like Georgian dance, which the male dancer is like, you know, the peacock of the presentation, just doing all these tricks, or Afro dances is incredibly popular now. And there's less resistance to seeing male dancers. It's just more fluid. Latin influences with salsa and bachata.
Love Latin and salsa dance.
Isn't it amazing? And you see a lot of these popular male dancers in ballet come from, you know, Cuban culture or Latin culture. So I really like to see these influences that helps kind of shake up and break up the boxes that male dancers in America or the West are kind of put into. There's some great resources all about role models, and you have to be very strong of mind to pick. I mean, as a young person, you can't pick your peer group. You have to go to high school and whatever. But now with the internet, you can find groups. You know, Black Boys Dance Too. I'm part of a group, Cabaret Diversity Network. You can find on Instagram, which is promoting male and female dancers, you know, into the genre of cabaret. And it's about finding and latching onto those role models, because it's not easy. Is it going to change in our lifetime?
Yeah.
We're going to have stars and starts of it. But it's
Black Boys Dance Too. Now that's something I'm going to be Googling straight away. Never heard of that.
Yes.
When was that born?
Oh, well, as far as I know, they are an American, probably individual. I don't know them personally, but I know that they exist. They're a voice for that, and there's a lot of resources to grab onto.
Yeah, no, the audience is going to be intrigued with that, because just reflecting now, I mean, 2 years ago, COVID wasn't even a thing. And back then, if anybody was told that a year from now, the globe would be in lockdown, the economy would be crashed, literally, and burned, and we'd be restricted to be going out, you would have said, no, you're crazy, you know? And here we are, currently experiencing that. It's been a year of that. Tomorrow, my personal restriction is that I think, you know, most counties in this country are tier 3. I don't know if they've got a tier system in Paris, but, you know, we're all told to stay inside again. Some shops will be open. So the madness continues. And the last time...
We just got out of our lockdown, but now we have a curfew.
Right.
We had 1 kilometer, 20 kilometers. Now we're free of that restriction, but we have an 8 p.m. curfew. So
Oh
they have
my
a
goodness.
market here in Paris.
Right. Wow. You know, because and you're only in what we call our back garden. Paris or the rest of Europe is our back garden, or front garden, whichever perspective you want to draw from that.
And after Brexit, is it going to be like the neighbor's property?
Yeah, it could be, yeah, a distant cousin.
The farm we once had, I don't know.
Yeah. What a crazy situation that is. Honestly, in the last 2 years, the globe just doesn't look anything like it used to. And, you know, it's almost like everybody's having to learn new interpersonal skills, hence Zoom, what we're doing right now. But and I remember the last time we spoke, I was mentioning the National Theatre, which has had a lot of success streaming its live shows on YouTube, online, you know, and I thought, wow, that's incredible. One of the things that I've noticed, that the creative world will drive forward no matter what, and if anything, new creativity comes around. So how do you see the future of dance in that sense, and how are you going to adjust?
That's a great question. So the pandemic has accelerated trends in technology with arts and dance. Online streaming, online teaching, they've already existed. Now our habits have been pressed firmly in a new way. So what's the post-pandemic world? How are we going to spring back, bounce back, or is it just going forward with a new structure? I'm working for a startup which is heavily dance and technology, about licensing rights, which I would like to see. It's more of a dream. The music industry, the photo and images industry have fought for licensing rights, going back to the creators. Right now, with dance on TikTok and our little worlds are on our phones,
of course,
people are consuming dance like never before.
That's
it's such a
great
celebration. It's bringing us joy. However, are the creators, are they protected, and are they swinging back when TikTok is putting on these dances? Normally musicians, you know, they fought hard for their rights to have compensation for when those are downloaded.
Right.
So I'm curious to see, it's going to be a slow trend, how the dance world you can see Paris Opera did the same. They did their show, La Bayadère, in the theater. No one was in the theater, and they streamed it for only 10 euros. Amazing.
Yeah.
Pandemic pricing, it's amazing. What's going to happen in the future, because those already existed, you can go see ballet in a movie theater, but people are like, who wants to? The audience was quite small, but now have we changed? And how is this going to influence how we create and how we post, and who's consuming, and is it a larger audience who's consuming? And also, we can go over to Japan and in Nigeria have some collaborations with amazing artists and discover them as well. Right. So especially in concert dance, you needed to build up a lot of funding and sponsors and huge organizations to move, you know, dancers from Israel around the globe and to have them tour.
Yeah.
Now I just discovered these amazing artists, 2 brothers in Nigeria who are making amazing site-specific work, you know, I discovered from my couch. I hope that they will tour and move, you know, post-pandemic.
Yeah.
So it's an incredible world that we just kind of went through a wormhole through.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. One of the very important things I wanted to ask you, okay, so you mentioned the business of male dancers being athletes. Well, you know, in that sense, then you're an athlete, right? So yes. The magazine is more and more aligning itself with health and well-being. So I'd like you to give us a Hillary version of good self-health, you know. So, and then that could be something you've even recently discovered in the way of a herbal tea, or what your regime is. How often do you maybe do other forms of exercise like yoga or meditate? So yeah, tell us.
Okay. Hillary's health and wellness. link to my YouTube wellness channel. I actually
Right.
pretty much, I think 100% of my colleagues have created their own online yoga and wellness empire. And in the States living,
Ah,
I almost minored in nutrition. I've it's definitely a hobby as an athlete to do injury maintenance, mental health, well-being.
yeah.
My greatest tip is, well, it's gonna ebb and flow, and I think some self-reflection to be what works for me
Yes.
is always going to be the best solution. Um,
I suppose as a
I
dancer, you're more um, likely to be attuned to yourself and your body, aren't you?
very, very much so.
Yeah.
I think the one thing I would recommend is restorative and restful procedure. The body has to rest and recharge.
Yeah.
And it's imperative. There's your diet, there's your training, and all this stuff. But you need to have correct rest and restore to be back on top form. And it's a continuous process in a loop.
Yeah.
And if you are performing in seasons, you can maintain it.
Yeah.
Some performers have a very long season and schedule, and it can be more difficult to
Yeah. Yeah. It's a very
maintain your devotion to these practices.
yeah. It's a very, it's a high demand on the body. I can't imagine you would get away from ignoring the self and the body. It's, even if you're, say, a young dancer who says, you know what, I'm going to go out drinking tonight, even though I'm performing tomorrow, you're not going to get away with that. The body's going to tell you the next day, right? In a
Oh,
big
wine
way.
and cigarettes. So
Yeah.
no. We it's imperative that for me, I build in the healthy lifestyle. It's built in every day. I don't
Right.
keep excess snack foods that are unhealthy in the house. I just simply don't buy them. I have stretching and walking and exercise regimes built into my lifestyle. So in a way, dancers are very fortunate. We don't have
Got
to,
it.
if we're a computer programmer, we'd really have to put a lot of effort into that.
Right.
So we're given a lot of gifts inherently.
So
But
what would
we
you
just
allow
focus and
yourself
devote.
in terms of, I don't know, a cheeky little treat? Do you eat chocolate?
Oh, I love chocolate. Well, I love like spa and baths and hammam and something that's very luxurious and relaxing
Yeah.
as my treat. Like if I need something really to get away, this is
So a spa would be doing it for you.
myself.
Well, I join you on that one. Yeah. Yeah.
We all need that right now, don't we?
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, yeah, I took spa and chocolate. There you go. There's the inspiration for the
Spa
audience
chocolate,
out
and
there.
you know I like perfume. I was just in the
Of
shops and
course.
galleries, and just to have these beautiful things. Living in Paris I've really got in touch with the elegant and sophisticated artisanal. I know it
Yeah.
sounds cliche, but as an American, we really admire that Parisian mystique,
Yeah.
as you know the world does. But and to live in Paris, right by the Champs, by these beautiful
Yeah.
shops.
And
Oh,
those
this is
boutiques,
a
I
treat.
remember them. I mean, if you really want to have a genuine experience of a boutique that is going to be memorable, inspiring, go to Paris, because in my eyes, they do it right. They really do. And what I'm also remembering is just how, as a capital, it's really gone through some testing times recently, Paris. But
Even just yesterday, there was manifestations and protests from the theaters and the cinema. You know, we are non-essential. It's
right,
an inescapable constraint of
yeah,
this time.
yeah,
As I think Savannah Hainel said, she's a showgirl. She goes, our industry was the first to shut down. It will be the last to start up.
wow,
This is our fate, and you can see the resilience and our spark and our pivot and our fight to be realized and to be seen,
yeah.
and to
Well,
be connected back into the economy. So I
yeah.
have to be patient.
Well, look, you have the support and the well wishes from all the art lovers, okay, and this audience from us here at Fresheye. it has been a crazy time, but you know, as I said before, I think that one of the things that I notice most in terms of drive, the creative industry, the creative world will always rebirth itself, pretty much like a phoenix.
Mm.
It always will. And let's just hope, you know, apparently the average life cycle of a pandemic is 18 months, right? So come summer 2021, absolutely join you in that one. You know, let's hope we're still not having this crazy conversation about COVID, you know? So, but look, on that note, Hillary, I'm going to give you this is international, isn't it? Yes, one of those, lots and lots and lots of that. Very, very heart and warm felt love here from England. I was going to say sunny, but it's not been that sunny recently. And, you know, I'm going to put
Charming
some,
England.
it is charming. It's got to be
Mhm.
said. Yeah. Well, you have spent some time here, so you would know. But yeah, I'm going to put some relevant links in the description, especially with the well-being side of things as well.
I can really recommend you to some amazing dancers who have and focus on this well-being.
Yes,
Because as you pointed out, and you have a good intuition, it's imperative that dancers have well-being and focus and get to know this, because if we do not have the well-being, we cannot perform
absolutely.
physically and emotively in our business. So I would love to have your readers and viewers know about them.
Yes.
I think I take my tips from them as well as do my own thing.
Right, right. Well, you know, it's an ongoing thing. As I say to anybody that I interview, we're going to do this again, and we will do, because it's always a journey and a development. And
And you know, if we can be together, wouldn't it be fun to have many showgirls maybe here, or dancers from Paris?
that would be
Maybe in a kick
amazing.
line next time. You know, then it's what
That
we
would
do best.
that would be incredible. I will say this. I think the thing that impressed me most, okay, which a lot of the audience won't appreciate, is when I went to Paris and spoke to you guys, the idea that there's an actual career around dance, and especially with your company, the way they were looking after you, and you guys told me you had healthcare and stuff like that. I was like, what? I mean, that's not the case with the rest of Europe. Certainly in London, it wasn't at that level. And you had dental care, or somebody said that, and I was staggered by that, you know. And and your colleagues, you know, some of those women were, you know, in terms of the Lido history, you can be approaching 40 and still dancing.
And their mothers.
Right.
And they're business owners, and it's an incredible structure because of the long history and how iconic these shows are globally, and the massive theaters and the machine behind that, and the French society and what they've fought for to appreciate their artists because they value them, and
and that really showed, you know. That was a sense of appreciation that I was just blown away by, because many aspiring artists or dancers, certainly in this culture, will have very worried parents, okay, for the fact that they think that it's not a career choice that should be considered.
Well, in America, for example, there's a lot less like institutional support and structural support for dancers. Normally, even in a reputable regional company, you have a season and then you go on short-term unemployment because the company cannot afford to keep you on, and there's not an audience base.
I see.
That's interested. And you know, the healthcare situation there it's been fluctuating recently, but either you have to buy your own, or the company cannot afford, or they can only afford certain type of healthcare because there's a high injury rate. And so it's a lot of self-care in American performers, or you work for multiple companies, or you have your own company, or you exist in a university setting because they have the funding for the arts. Or you have to go to the mega centers of like New York, Chicago, Miami, LA. It's you have to teach on the side. You have to. It's just it's an innumerable amount of hustle.
Yeah.
With a very thin safety net.
Absolutely.
And we're all worried about the artists and businesses in America, and we're rooting for them, especially with our dollars. If you have to buy any gifts or anything, go on Etsy and support someone more local.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely. Well, look, with that, I'll do the heart sign again, because that was epic. I really enjoyed that. We'll do it again. We'll do a part 2.
Okay, part 2 with Kicking Showgirls.
Yeah, well, look, dance is not going to die anytime soon. It's the most...
it's been reborn, as you said.
Well, it's one of the most primitive form of art, right? The self-expression that it is, you know.
It's of our bodies.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get away from it. That's right. We got the spirit now.
Right.